What's going on, everyone? It's your girl Tay, and in my video today, I'm gonna tell you why I canceled my fave. If this is your first time here, welcome. Come on in, make yourself comfortable. We have snacks and fruit punch in the fridge. And if you like what you see, if you're picking up what I'm putting down, why not subscribe and become a member of the House of Stark? Now, before I get into the meat and potatoes of my video, I want to say a couple things. One, I am not telling you or anyone else not to support this YouTuber. We are all grown. I will never tell you who to give your views to, who to give your money to, anything like that. Because I am not a dictator, nor am I trying to be. Number two, let me define what cancel means to me. I know there's always this huge discussion around cancel culture. Is it actually cancel culture? Is it accountability culture? Does cancel culture even work? We've seen situations where it doesn't, but we've seen situations where it really does. When I say I cancel somebody, that means I no longer support them. I don't follow them on any social media platforms. I don't buy their merch. I don't watch any of their content. Hell, I don't even really speak about them because why give that person energy? Energy flows where attention goes. We've seen full-scale cancellation happen. We've seen it happen in the beauty community with Kat Von D. She came out saying she wasn't going to vaccinate a child, and everybody was like, oh, hell no. They couldn't even give her stuff away in free samples at Sephora. I remember seeing that on Twitter. Somebody was like, I work at Sephora. We have KVD samples. It's like your birthday gift this month. And people were like, no, I'd rather have the moisturizer that I have the full size version of anyway than support her in any way. So we've seen it work, but for the most part, there are people who continue to thrive whether or not they've been called out on the internet. I'm saying here that I, for the most part, no longer support this person. I have my notes. Let's go. Now, as you can tell by the title, the person that I'm talking about is YouTuber Bradley Martyn. I have a video on this channel where I talk about how Bradley Martyn helped me through the passing of my mother, because I did reach out to him on Twitter, I want to say a week or two after my mother passed away in 2017. And you know, when you go through something like that, you look for comfort in healthy ways, hopefully. And knowing that Brad had shared his story about losing his father at a young age, I was like, he'll understand what I'm going through as someone who's just lost a parental figure. So I tweeted him, not really expecting him to respond, and he did. Let me take it all the way back, because back in, I want to say 2015, 2016, a good friend of mine and I got into the channel Bro Science Life. I love the character of Dom Mazzetti. My friend and I were big into working out, fitness, all of that thing. And we loved the irreverent gym bro that would give us these ridiculous videos every week. I mean, back when Dom uploaded every week. Oh, burn. Anyway. So there came a time where he did a collab, and Dom, his real name is Mike, and Brad were hiking through what I now know is Runyon Canyon. I didn't know it at the time. I was living in New York, and they're obviously based in LA. And now that I've been here and I've been to Runyon Canyon, I recognize where they are. Listen, the first thing I noticed about this person who is on the channel of my beloved Dom Mazzetti is that this dude is tall and he is built, and he is exactly the type of man that I'm attracted to physically. Like, I love tall, buff, muscular men. If you didn't know, now you know. So yes, the one thing that drew my attention was Brad's body. And then I started seeing him more and more on the Bro Science channel, and I was like, oh, because in those videos where they're hiking, you can't really see Brad's face, you don't really hear his voice. But as I'm watching him more and more on Bro Science, I'm like, oh, he cute. And he's kind of shy because he doesn't say much, and he's kind of soft-spoken. What is the tea? So after seeing him in a few videos on the Bro Science channel, I finally go to his channel. When I found him, his channel was mostly about lifting, which is fine. I'm a lady who lifts. I know it don't look like it now, but I do love lifting weights. And I found that content helpful because you always want to improve your form. But the thing that really got me into Brad, aside from how hot I found him, was his motivational videos, the videos where he's talking to the audience. This will make you better. It's not enough to just want to do something. You have to follow through. Or this hard thing that you went through will make you better. One of the videos before I moved to California that I watched from Brad, it was a video he uploaded either the day or a few days after Mac Miller passed. And this man was in his gym, in his office, face red, crying because he was talking about the fragility of mental health and how you have to take your mental health seriously, get help if you're able to. And he was so open and so vulnerable. And I was like, this is the Brad that I adore. I don't know if I tell the story in the former video, but again, there may be new people to my channel, so let me tell it again. The second time I came out to California before the big move, my former roommate, my best friend, and I decided to, because we had nothing else to do, drive down to Brad's gym, Zoo Culture. We pulled up. Like, I was so afraid, I was shaking. I was too chicken to actually go inside the gym. I took pictures of it. I think those pictures are still up on my Instagram. I took pictures from outside of the gym, and AJ and Corey went in, my best friend and my former roommate. They went in and they asked about Brad. He wasn't there that day. And I was like, thank God, because I don't know what I would have done if he had been there. Funny thing is, AJ told me later that if Brad had been there, they would have brought him outside to where I was. And I was like, had y'all done that, I probably would have shit my pants. No cap, I would have probably shit my pants in front of Bradley Martyn because I would have been nervous. Even though Brad is 7 years younger than me, and y'all know how I feel about younger men, but irrelevant. Corey and I were talking about it. Corey and I were like, all right, we're going to get memberships just to, not even for you to like creep on Brad, but for us to get in shape and all of these things. That was the plan. Obviously, it didn't come to fruition. I saw his content change to where like he started the Rose Verse channel with Dom Mazzetti, and where he started trying to step into comedy and things of that nature, and to where he started doing podcasts, which I really enjoyed. I think I'm still subscribed to his podcast channel, but he hasn't uploaded onto that channel in eons. I remember one podcast where I think it was one of the last ones I watched, and he had Mike, aka Dom, on the podcast, and he was talking about how social media took him outside of his reality and how it ended up in the end costing him his relationship that he had kept off of social media for I think 7 years. I think he said that he felt safer giving of himself because he can't get hurt when giving his time and attention on social media. If he does it in real life, then there's always the possibility of getting hurt. And I respected that. And then last year, things started changing. I started noticing, different people in his videos. I started noticing a difference in his content. I started noticing that he wasn't really reacting to people as much. It felt off. It got to a point where it was just like, this isn't the same person I started following back in 2017. And that does happen with creators. Like when you have the person who starts off making videos on their bedroom floor, or like me in my living room, and then all of a sudden they're living in a condo in LA, they don't feel relatable anymore because they're no longer living the same lifestyle as you. That happens. That's natural. And I totally understand that. But this wasn't that. Like Brad was driving a freaking G-Wagon. So he's never been like relatable to me on that. That wasn't why I was following him. I was following him because this was a person who seemed to give of himself, who truly loved the content that he was creating and loved connecting with his audience and loved being authentic with his audience. And I don't see that anymore. And I stopped seeing that at the beginning of 2020. The thing that made me stop supporting him completely was that damn Gym Lives Matter thing that he and Steve from the Nelk Boys put together. So let's take it back to a year ago. End of May, we have the murder of George Floyd. And you have all of these huge creators, most of them Caucasian, talking about how they're learning, they're trying to understand, they want to be a better ally. The whole black square fiasco, there was a difference in the way some people presented their support. They were either all in, they were 10 toes down, or they didn't want to rock the boat. And Brad was one of those that didn't want to rock the boat. Brad, who put up a black square and turned off comments because he didn't want any backlash. And then you have what I'm assuming is his former friend, because I don't see them interacting anymore, Dom, who made a video that he put it on his Instagram. He's like, listen, I'm gonna say it with my whole chest. Black Lives Matter. And if you come at me with any foolishness and fuckery in my comment section, I'll jump into character real quick and read you to fucking filth. And I was like, yes, because that's what we need. We need people who aren't afraid to rock the boat when it comes to this issue. Damn it, we had Logan Paul. I never in my life thought I would praise Logan Paul. Logan Paul on his podcast talking about it's not enough to not be racist, you have to be anti-racist. Logan Paul, he had the balls to say it, to say Black Lives Matter with his entire chest. But Brad put up a black square with his comments turned off, and then went on Twitter and said division on both sides needs to end. Sir, let me see if I still have it, because I'm pretty sure I saved it. Here's what I said, July 14th, 2020, where Brad tweeted, the divide is killing us. This shit has got to stop. And I quote tweeted him and I said, it's time for y'all, meaning Caucasian people who call themselves allies, it's time for y'all to stand in the gap. We've been raising our voices for generations and have been, as the kids say, left on red. We've been doing the work. It's time for everyone to get up in this if you want to see change. He didn't reply to me. I don't care if he ever saw it. That's how I was feeling, and that's the truth. That's the truth. It hurt. It hurt to see that this man who has a whole video on his Instagram of a skit that he did. It's like when you meet her brothers, and the girl that he's dating in the skit and all of her brothers are black people. And yet he's not strong enough to stand with us. But that wasn't the end. Like I said, the end for me was that fucking Gym Lives Matter stunt. How do you think, with everything that has gone on, with everything that 3-word phrase stands for, how do you think that it is okay to minimize, mock, and parody that phrase? How did you think that was okay? I already dealt with that shit in the beauty community, where you have Jared Blandino. I know at that point he wasn't the owner, but he was still visibly the face of Too Faced, having a birthday cake in his Instagram shot that said Rich Lives Matter. How do you think that it is okay to take that phrase, knowing where it came from, the pain and the outcry that is associated with that phrase? How do you just do that without thought? And then at the height of the pandemic, you sit here and organize a rally because you don't want to follow the ordinance for LA County. You want to keep your gym open. You have videos on your channel where you openly talk about keeping your gym open against the ordinance because you are like, the gym was therapy for me and I know it's therapy for other else. Do you know what you could have done? People could have benefited from you showing them how to work out at home. Because I know you have some sort of home gym set up. You could have afforded to buy one. You could have helped people in so many other ways. instead of advocating to keep people safe. But you decided, because of your good friend Steve over here, to send out a call, be like, hey, we're gonna do this rally because gym lives matter. Put people at risk. How dare you? How dare you? I was so fucking hurt. I was so hurt. And I was already hurting from everything else that's going on in the world. But somebody that I considered my fave, somebody who was one of the reasons I created a YouTube channel, could act like that. Hell, I'm wearing Brad's merch right now. This is one of his shirts. I supported Brad. I was 10 toes down for Brad. I would defend him when people would come at him in his comment section. You know you're on juice. There's no way. We saw pictures of you and da 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 da. One of the greatest things that happened because of me following Brad is that I actually made a friend. I consider her one of the good sisses. I actually talked to her, told her I was making this video today. She's somebody who's been around Brad. She's somebody that, like me, has noticed this change. And she understood how hurt I was. And yeah, it's probably my fault. I put way too much faith in somebody that I don't know. But Brad has said in videos, he signed up to be a role model. So who do you want looking up to you? I have gone back and checked in on what he's doing now, and I'll tell you why in a minute. He's not the same person that he was when I started following him. Yes, YouTubers, humans grow and change, and they can become completely different people. It's the circle of life. You know, that's just what happens. But to reference Logan Paul again, to see someone like Logan Paul go from idiot fuckboy to someone who's actually gone through and shown all kinds of growth to where he is a completely different person from where he was when I was introduced to him. It's incredible to see that against the juxtaposition of where Brad started out as this, I don't know if wholesome is the word, but to see him go from this person who made relatable content and go to fuckboy. My friend sent me a video of Brad like openly talking about how he can get high and hit every part of his body except legs. Brad used to be very coy about the smoking of the green, okay? Which is fine. Like, you don't have to put all your business out there. Hey, your girl enjoys the gummy every now and again. But, you know, so I'm not out here shaming him for partaking, as it were. Like, I don't care. Some of my favorite people do. I actually have dreams of puffing on one with Seth Rogen. So that's not the issue. But for him to go from, I'm a put this in the background because that's not really what I want to promote, to listen, to smoking a J on camera, it's a lot. It's a lot. I want to say that it was about a month ago where I reached out to my friend and I was like, you know what? I really miss Brad. I miss him so much. Again, I know that sounds weird because it's not like he was a close personal friend. Bradley Martyn doesn't know who the fuck Tay Del Val is. He knows nothing about Taylani Stark. You know, he doesn't care. He's probably never, ever gonna see this video. Actually, I had a joke with my friend. I was like, what would happen if he saw this video and then like he invited me on his podcast so I could tell him all this to his face? I wonder if the universe would test my gangsta like that. But, you know, that's not the reason I'm making this video. I don't expect that to happen at all. I don't expect a lot of my audience to really know who he is or care. But again, I'm just making this video mainly for me to get this off my chest, because I've been holding on to it. And I miss him. I miss who he was when I started following him in 2017. I miss the person that replied to me when I reached out to him about losing my mom. I miss the person who was sitting in his office at his gym crying because one of his faves had passed on. And he was like, I know what that's like to be in that dark night of the soul. You have to get help. I miss the Brad that shamelessly put up a picture of him in a hospital gown around his birthday and talked about the importance of taking care of your mental health. I miss that Brad. And my good sis was like, girl, it's natural. Missing a person's energy is valid too. I want to believe that as he gets older, some of this bullshit is going to fall away. I'm not the same person I was when I was 32. Hell, I'm not even the same person I was a year ago. And that's how life works. You go through things, you grow through things. So there's that part of me that desperately wants to believe that as he grows and as he matures, some of the Brad that I saw back in the day will return. I desperately want that. But it's not for me to decide because I'm not living his life. And it's not like I'm one of his friends. You know, I can't call Brad on the phone and be like, hey, you're fucking up, my dude. Like, let's pull it together. But I understand. I can say I understand where it's coming from. Like, if you ask certain people, you could say Brad got his come up from FouseyTube. He was one of the people that defended Fousey after that whole July 15th fiasco. You know, like I remember Brad bought him on his podcast, and anytime somebody tried to come at Fousey weird, he was an attack dog. He was so defensive and protective of Fousey. And I was like, oh, this is interesting to see because this is his friend. And he's 10 tones down for him. I love to see it. And I understand why he's aligning himself with these people. Maybe it's just because that's honestly what he's on right now. Maybe that's just the type of people that he wants to ride with right now. But I also can understand that he's rocking with them because controversy generates views. And I feel like for Brad, if he does see this video, he can refute it. YouTube is what gives him the cash for all of his other ventures. YouTube is what allows him to open up zoo culture, and then YouTube and zoo culture allow him to open up more zoo cultures and for him to create merch and, you know, things like that. I understand, like, riding with these people gets eyes on your channel so that you can continue to generate that ad revenue. But just for me, there are so many other ways that you could do that. There are so many ways that you could diversify, my dude, and I feel like he just took the easiest route. And then everything that's come along with that has hurt fans like me. Funnily enough, he posted an IG story about bringing back the podcast, and I couldn't help myself. He was like, should I bring back the podcast? And when should I bring it back? And I messaged him. I was like, now would be good. And he replied. He was like, got you. I still don't see he might have posted the podcast, but because I don't follow him on on any of his YouTube channels, I just don't know about it. But I think I'm just there because I still have hope. And I want to see him do better. Maybe I'm silly for that. But you know me. In the House of Stark, we always keep it 100. So I honestly feel a lot better getting all of that out. I truly do. And I feel like that's where I'm going to end it. I hope you enjoyed this. I know this is one of the more ranty videos I have on my channel, but I promise you I'm a sweet as sugar to those who are sweet to me. If you liked this video, please be sure to like, share, and comment. Like I said in the beginning, if you're picking up what I'm putting down, please subscribe and join the House of Stark. I will see you in the next one.